we have a home for everything that we have, right? We're not just having willy-nilly stuff. We have things that have a home in our home, and that's where we go when we want it. When we're in this flow state and we're working and everything works out well, and then we don't find anything, all of a sudden, that stops us in our tracks, right? And that's where we're trying to not get stopped, and the things are always where they need to be. Now, nobody is perfect. So I'm always thinking like if 80 to 90% of the time the stuff is where it needs to be, good enough, because we need to stay human.
By a show of hands, how many of you make less than you think that you are worth? Why is that? It's time for you to put your foot down and say, enough. Luckily, you're here at the right time and the right place. The most wonderful real estate podcast ever is the path that you seek. I'm Dwanbenttwyford, and I have closed over 2,000 deals. I've been investing for over 30 years. I've seen all the markets, and I've done over $500 million worth of deals. I mean, think about that. $500 million worth of real estate. And I have a heart for you. I want you to walk my path with me. Your life is about to change. And do you know why? Because it's time to thrive in 25. Say it with me. It's time to thrive in 25. It's time to thrive to 25. Enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwanbenttwyford. I am so excited to have you here with us today. I have an amazing guest and Dwanderful, the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. We just reached 1 million downloads.
Yay!
So, I know. So I'm so excited that we reached 1 million downloads. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's only because of you. So keep listening. Follow me at Dwanderful. You know, I took Dwan and Wonderful, made a new word. Dwanderful.com, my website, opt in, take the quiz, find out how much you know about real estate. And also Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the things, Dwanderful. So I have an awesome guest today. I'm really excited to talk to Miss Conny Graf. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you, Dwan. How are you? With 1 million downloads, you should be over the moon.
Oh, well, I keep my podcast on Buzzsprout. And so I got an email like, congratulations with all these balloons about, 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, 1 million? I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do. Like, that's so amazing. I am just like, I've been on cloud nine ever since. That's really something.
Yeah, that is something. Congratulations.
And I've worked really hard. So I was like, oh, thank you. I got rewarded for all my hard work. So it's pretty exciting. I actually Googled it last night because I thought, there's a lot of big podcasts out there. So I Googled is 1 million podcast downloads a lot. And it says if you have 1 million, you're in the top 5% of all the podcasts.
Yeah.
So then I was like, woo, look at me. So I just Googled that last night. I was like, is that a lot though? Because there's all those really big people, famous people that have these millions of every show. So I found out that that's really a lot. So that made me even more excited about it. So
yeah.
All right. So your the title I had is From Chaos to Peace. So what we like to do, Connie, is we just throw our guests just straight to the wolves. I want you to just give us like in 1 or 2 sentences what you do and how everybody can find you. Then I'm going to ask you some questions to find out how you got to do what it is that you do.
Yeah. So my business is called From Chaos to Peace, and I help busy entrepreneurs who work from home to create a more supportive environment in their physical, digital, financial environment, right? So like most people are surrounded by chaos, me sometimes included, and I have figured out some techniques how to keep that chaos at bay and to work from a peaceful environment.
Okay, so we're gonna dip into that for sure. But how do people find you?
So the people find me either on my website, connygraf.com, which is CONNYGRAF.com. It's a bit spelled different.
No, you do, because when I saw CONNY, I wrote it down that way, and I thought, well, I'm hoping it's pronounced Connie, but everyone else is CONNIE, I think.
Yeah, that's the North American way of spelling Connie. I'm from Europe. In Europe, it's actually quite common to spell Connie with a Y.
Well, mine is Dwan, Dwan, and people
Yeah,
always go Dawn, and I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Dwan,
And I'm
not
sure they
Dawn,
also spell it
Dwan.
wrong when they send you an email or anything.
Everybody, if someone sends me an email or a text, and I know they don't know me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no. Okay, so from chaos2peace.com, are you on social medias?
I'm on social media, so it's connygraf.com. But I think, yeah, you can click, you can do chaos2peace.com as well, for sure.ca. I'm on social media. On Instagram, my handle is I am Conny Graf, also with a Y. And on Facebook, it's From Chaos to Peace.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to find you on all the places and start stalking you. So,
I will look out for you. That's
yes,
exciting.
and mine
Yes.
is all wonderful. So, yeah, every time I have a guest on, I really try not to find out too much about them ahead of time because I really am genuinely a curious person. I'm curious about people. I'm curious about things. So I try not to, unless it's someone that I actually just I know because they're in the real estate business. But if I don't, I try not to find out too much ahead of time because I like to ask the questions I feel like I would ask if you and I were sitting down having lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we kind of format the podcast. It's like, hey, let's get to know each other and like, what would I want and what would you want to know? And that's so I've been doing it that way for years. And I guess people like it because I got a million downloads.
Exactly.
And people all the time, they send me like, these are my 10 questions. And I see that and I just laugh because I'm like, they have no idea. I'm not asking them a single question on their list. I always throw it away. And then sometimes, 5 minutes in, someone's like, did you get my questions? I was like, I did. I threw them away. Then they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I got you. I got you. Okay, so I agree. The world is full of chaos. Just me personally, I feel like social media almost makes the world more chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's online, everything's so negative, and people are saying mean things to people. And, I mean, it's like we just rescued astronauts from space. How
Mm,
can you possibly write something negative about that?
yeah.
They were stuck in space, like where there's no food, there's no water. It's like, and
Mm,
then even that, like people find the fault. And it's like, what is wrong with people today?
mm,
There's so much
yeah.
noise and there's
Yeah.
just so much. And then you have other people's energy. And, I'm always like, oh, don't rub any of that bad energy off on me.
Yeah.
So chaos to peace, how did you come up with this concept? And like, why are you helping people do this? Because I really love it. As soon as I read the title, I was like, I already love her.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. So I think it was kind of like a download. It all of a sudden came to me. But so I was a little bit of a weird kid. So from early on, I realized how the environment has an influence on us and how like the physical environment, right? Not just the social, like people, we all are aware of that, but the physical environment too. And so I grew up in in a house, and I myself had a little room. I always called it a broom closet. And so I was constantly trying to make this room fit me better and what I needed to do, right? But then, of course, this was not something that was back then a career. So
Where are you from?
Switzerland.
Oh, because I love your accent.
Thank you. I'm trying not to have an accent.
No, no,
But
no.
it's
Keep the
just how
accent. It makes
yeah.
you different. Don't try not to have an accent. The fact that you have an accent makes people go, oh, she's from someplace else. I want to hear this. Keep
Yeah,
the
yeah.
accent.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I went into finance and I helped people create peace in their numbers, right? So, but then I also helped them create peace on their desk, in their offices. And I always kind of said, well, I help you going from chaos to peace. Of course, originally I said it in German because Switzerland, I come from the German part.
Mhm.
But so this kind of stuck. And then, all of a sudden I thought, why don't I call my business like this? Why don't I talk more about really going from chaos to peace? Before, my company was called Graf Accounting and Controlling.
No,
Really boring.
this is way better. I love this.
Exactly. And so it literally came from me talking. That was the way I was talking when somebody asked me, how can you help me? Or when I was actually helping somebody, I was talking about, I help you go from chaos to peace. And that's how it happened.
I
Long story to a short question.
no, it's not a long story because, everyone has a moment, like for me, I call it my come to Jesus moment where I got into real estate investing out of desperation. But everybody
Hmm.
has a moment or something, becomes clear or it just shows up and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what I need to do. So I'm
Hmm.
always really curious how people chose what they do. And like you said, you were talking and thinking like, and then it like came to you like, why can't I help other people do this? And then there you are. And now you're doing like your epiphany or whatever you would call it. And
Yeah.
now you're able to do that. So if I was, so I'm assuming that you sort of help people in some sort of a mentorship way, or there's something that you teach them. I can't imagine you do it in one call. So
No.
you
That's it.
mentor
No.
them, they're part of your community or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So originally, the way it started was in person. So, right, I would go to their office, I would go help them out, I would do the work with them. I would never do it for them. I would kind of do it with them. Nowadays, everything moved online, right? So the mentorship, I call it more like guidance or coaching, however you want to
Okay,
call it.
guys.
Yeah, so we're talking, and Dwan, these days we can all Google how to create more order around us. That is not necessarily, the information is not necessarily the problem. The problem is, why aren't we doing what we often know what to do? Why can't we get ourselves to do the things we know we need to do? Why are we procrastinating, right? And so this is basically what I then help. Yes, I do help with practical tips and all this, but what I'm actually helping them is accountability to stay on track. I help them talking it through, which a lot of people say, I'm so glad I can talk this through, especially when it's around finances. They say, oh, I'm so glad I have somebody that I can talk this through. Other people is like when it's about creating an organized office or decluttering their home. They love talking through, what do I let go? How do I do it? Hey, I noticed I got sidetracked. I can't do it. What do I do wrong? Right? So this is it. That's why I'm calling it guidance, because really we can all ask ChatGPT or Google it or whatever. We get all the whole program how to do it, but then we don't do anything,
But
right?
then
So.
that's the thing. I have people all the time. They're like, hey, I want you to be my real estate coach. I want you to mentor me. I want to be like you. But then I give them a list of things and then they don't do it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
so if someone was coming to you and you're like, hey, these are the things or whatever, how do you help them like do the actual work? Besides like cracking a whip on them and saying, hey, do what I said to do. Like, how do you get people? Because that's the problem. You can Google everything. People Google how to lose weight. There's 80 million thousand ways to lose weight, but then people don't do it.
yeah.
So how do you
Well,
help them overcome that? Because I feel like I almost feel like we have so much information overload. You
yeah,
see 100 ways of, organizing your space, but then no one actually does it.
yeah, yeah. So I think one way, first I want to say one thing, like we can't make anybody do anything. Like
Oh,
I'm
agree.
not a dictator, right? So, but what I can do is I can either inspire them or I can weed through all the information and help them figure out a way that works for them or might work for them, right? So like I'm a little woo too, so I include astrology often in it. So like there is like if we want to go very simple, there's kind of four types of people, and
Okay.
depending on what type you're falling into, you have other challenges that keep you from starting, right? So then I'm
Whatever. Tell
trying
me,
to.
tell me the four people because I want to know this. This is like information I need to know.
Okay, so there's four elements in astrology. It's fire, earth, air, and water. And Carl Jung, by the way, he gave them a little bit different names, but he worked with that too. So this is kind of like to put all people in 4 buckets. It's very generic. We're not trying to put boxes around people or put people in boxes, but it does help. So as a fire person, for example, you're very quickly, very enthusiastic. You start something, but you have a hard time following through, right? As an earth person, you plan, you love planning, you plan and plan and plan, but you never start doing anything because you plan like a crazy man or crazy woman. As an air person, air people, they have so many thoughts in their brain. They're trying to weed through all their thoughts, and they get caught up in analysis, paralysis. What is the best way to start? So they don't start either, right? And the water people are the ones who are very emotional. They're very attached to everything and their things, and they are easily overwhelmed and easily emotionally bogged down. So those people need a different approach, right? And so if I can figure out on what the dominant energy of these 4 is in somebody, I can make suggestions and say, okay, listen, you're a fire person like me. I have a lot of fire. So I have to always be careful that I'm not run after every shiny object and start 7 million things and never finish anything.
I have shiny object syndrome. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I definitely have shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. And so this is kind of how I can help, and we can talk it through, and I can give them actually specific tasks like tailored to them when we talk, that they actually, I can still not make them do them, right? But because we're reading through all the information and all the options and all the things, we can actually come up with a task or something that they can do. And then that's the only thing I'm saying, okay, you're only trying to do this, focus on this and not on all the other things that you might hear you could do or are on your list, right? And then I give accountability. So it often helps, and studies show that too. If you tell somebody, yes, I'm going to do this, you're more likely to going to do it, because next week you're on a call with me again and I say, so how did it go? And so this is kind of how I help, and it helps a lot. It helps to read through all the options and the possibilities. It gives them a clear direction, and it gives them accountability. Now, again, I can't make anybody do anything, but I sure try.
but you can, because if they've committed and say, kind of, listen, I'm going to do the system, just being accountable. Because in my real estate investing career, when someone wants to be what I call an apprentice training, they have this accountability log, and it says, how many homeowners did you talk to? How many leads did you get? How many this? How many that? How many postcards? How many doors did you do? How many contracts? And then when they're new, they're like, and they fill it out, they send it to me. And then in a couple months, like they'll miss a few weeks, or they'll say, oh, I was on vacation. Oh, I got busy. No, you're falling off of your accountability, but you can see them doing it. So I think I probably do what you do. I get back, I'm like, hey, listen, you missed 2 weeks of accountability. Get back on, because you're doing what everybody does. It's like, oh, and then you do it, and then you dwindle. And if someone doesn't come back and say, get back on the track with me, they'll just dwindle off. So you have the power, but it's part of it is always, in my opinion, is going to be you. Like when they start kind of dwindling, I say, hey, listen, you hired me to do this for you. You have to keep going. I tell people, I'm not letting you quit. You're going to do it. And then they're like, okay, next thing you know, they're closing deals. They're like, oh my God, Dwan was great. But there was a minute there where I had to like yell at them like,
it's the tough love that you have to give them, that they're basically hiring you for, right? To give them the tough love to actually. But see, I think the reason why I say I can't make anybody do anything is because in the end, it's still them that wanna do it, right? It's still them that actually do the work. It's not, I'm not gonna do it for them. Although a lot of people would love that just anybody or everybody does everything for them. But that's not how we get proud of ourselves, right? If somebody would have done your podcast, you wouldn't be as proud for 1 million downloads as you worked hard for it and you did it yourself.
I agree. So what do you think is the number one thing that keeps people from like saying, hey, I want this help, and then not doing? Do you think it's like just, I mean, I know it's the different signs and stuff, but do you feel like
Mhm.
procrastination, or people like, I find a lot of people are afraid of change, like deep down,
Mhm.
or like, what do you think is like kind of the maybe the number one or two things that keeps people from really changing? Because everybody can change.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the reasons is not being active in the change, being worried that it's to you. Like, so I had once a client and she said, after not taking action for like several times, and I'm always saying like, okay, what is it? Why aren't you doing it? All of a sudden it came out of her and she said, I think I will not recognize myself if I change, and I'm afraid of that. Right. So
Wow.
this is kind of the fear of the unknown. We're so comfortable in how we know things. And it's almost like if even though I'm really stressed out, even though I'm not successful, even though I don't like how it is right now, at least I know what I'm dealing with. If I have to go to something different, it's new and it's scary. And I sometimes feel too, is like the more the world around us gets crazier, like it right now is, and we don't have the inner grounding or the inner peace, how I call it.
No, I'm with you.
The yeah, the more we're all just like hunkering down. I'm just gonna stay here exactly where I am and don't rock the boat. And I think that is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they would wanna get into a better place, but only if they didn't have to change, kind of thing. So then, yeah. So, and
No.
like Dwan, I don't know how you are, whether you're always on the go and where you always can do it, but I can certainly relate. There's sometimes days where I feel like, oh, if I could just sit back and not have to constantly strive for getting better, doing more, that would be lovely. And then the next morning I wake up and think, oh no, that wouldn't work for me. So,
No, I know, I get you, but I feel like you just really hit it on the head there, because it's it's fear.
yeah.
I find like in my end with people making money in real estate, they're afraid to be successful, but they're afraid to fail. Then they're like, well, if I start making all this money, what will I do? How will that look like? Well,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, fear. Like if I make these changes you're asking, then they're like, what will that look like on the other side?
Mm-hmm.
And they want that, but then they're afraid to get it. And then when they get it, then what is the next step, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly, I mean, I've been teaching people for like 35 years, and I swear, I feel like at the depths of everyone's soul, it's fear that stops us
Yeah.
from doing like what's on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think most people, the more they sit actually in their comfortable thing, the less they're going to do something. So what I often then suggest is let's make small tweaks and small changes. Like there is this, I forgot the study, but they say if you just change the way you drive something, like if you always drive the same way to the grocery store, start driving a different way, start doing things a little bit different in your everyday life to get used to doing things differently instead of being so in the rut, and then just build from there, right? But I mean, it is literally fear, and it hit me so hard when she said, "Oh, I don't think I would recognize myself," and I'm afraid of
Like,
that.
yay, yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
But
yeah,
I can no, I can totally see that. And there are so many people that need help with like what you do, because I mean, everyone's got trauma and everyone's got this
yeah.
and everyone's got that. And then people just don't know how to get by it, or they develop habits that are like trauma responses or whatever.
Hmm.
And then, 10 years go by and nothing has changed at all.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
I trust that you are loving the podcast. Hey, Do you really want to become a super kick-ass superstar real estate investor? Really? 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 All right, why don't you spend the next minute and just take my real estate investing quiz. Super fast, super quick. It'll let you know where you stand on your journey. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to Dwanderful.com. And back to the show. So what is an actionable tip? Like right now, if someone's listening, I really like Connie, I like her vibe, I like all what she's got going on. What is one actionable tip? Just anyone listening could go, I'm going to do this one thing to get my ball rolling.
So one thing that I notice what a lot of people try to do is they try to take on too much. Like they think I don't know, let's talk physical clutter. I'm gonna declutter my whole office this Saturday, most likely, Saturday of all days. And this is way too much. Like, you're most likely not going to do it. You're going to procrastinate. In the morning, you wake up and you think, oh, I have the whole day. I can wait and I can drink coffee first, read newspaper, scroll Instagram, whatever, right? and then it goes on, and then you find the laundry that needs to be folded and whatever. And then it's 3 PM and you think, oh, now I don't have to start, right? So this is one thing. So the one actionable tip I always say is, and it's a saying of mine, a few minutes a day keeps the chaos away. So start small, smaller than you think it will make a difference. But if you start small and you start creating a momentum where you're actually doing something, and it can be so small that your procrastination muscle really has no chance to kick in. You can literally just do it. That is the biggest tip. So
I'm going to start telling people that a few minutes a day
keeps the chaos away. Yeah.
So I'm at my house. I have a house in Florida, and I'm blessed enough to have a house in Colorado as well. And so it's got 3 bedrooms. And so I'm down here for a month. I thought, you know what? In the first week, I'm going to clean out all the closets. I'm going to get rid of all the clothes somebody wears. I'm going to put all the clothes on the black velvet hangers. And okay, so now I've been here for 3 weeks. I've only done 2 closets.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, and then a couple of days ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to get up first thing. I'm not going to look at anything. I'm just going to go work on that closet. But then, like, someone rang the doorbell, and then the yard guy came. I started talking to him, and then this and this and this. And I was like, dang, it's 3:30. I don't have time. I did the exact identical thing in the last week. The identical thing with it. And that's what made me laugh when you said that. I was like, I literally just did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Dawn, it's really human. It's very human from us because that comes from somebody who loves an organized environment. But I'm not like a stickler for being all perfect, but I like it if it's just so, right? But I wouldn't want to go and do 3 closets in 1 week or 3 closets in 1 day or whatever. So then we start to, and I have so much time, I can do it. So I can wait, I can read the newspaper first, I can scroll first, I can drink coffee first, I can go sit in the garden first. We come up with everything and anything. And so this is why I'm saying just commit 15 minutes, commit to half an hour. Half an hour is already, I would say, the max. So don't do longer. Because another thing I always say too is like, you have to train your decluttering muscle. I always put this here, like we have to train our decluttering muscle. So if you're not used to doing decluttering and organizing and cleaning out and putting back in, you're getting tired very quickly. You're getting, depending on what type of person you are, you either get very quickly emotionally overwhelmed. If you're more like an air person, you quickly get sidetracked with all kinds of other squirrel things that you could do. As a fire person, you lose the enthusiasm fairly quickly, right? And then you may have a bigger mess than you had ever before. So, and the earth person, like we said, hardly ever starts, especially if it's a big project of 3 closets. Oh my God, we will have to plan that first before we can start, right? So start small. So I often say, start with 15 minutes, start with 20 minutes. Start with as little time as possible where you can actually say, okay, I can do that. I have 15 minutes that quickly can do something. And then start with the obvious thing. Another funny thing is that a lot of people always ask me, they always come with the most difficult decision to me and say, well, Connie, how would you decide here? And I'm like, okay, is that the only thing that you still have to clean up or organize? If not, let's do everything else first, because you get more used to making decisions. You understand more what your ideal or supportive environment is. You understand more about yourself. You are used to the process. So don't start with. So if we're talking about household stuff, don't start with your grandmother's china that you actually don't know what to do. If that's when you can't, like, this is not you. I'm sure you have other stuff that you can work on first.
I love it. I love what you do. And I have noticed, I turned 66 this year. I have noticed in the last 3 or 4 years, I feel like I'm almost becoming OCD about everything being clutter free. So I'm like, I mean, I have cleaned out all my closets and kitchens, bathrooms, under the drawer. I mean, not all, like, over the last few years, I've changed out all the hangers, I've organized, I've thrown clothes away, and I'm like, okay. And now I'm like with my grandkids, like, I'll have this here, and I'm like, listen, don't touch my stuff. It was over here. Stop touching my stuff. Don't move it there. I want it here. And I'm like, okay. Now I'm becoming like a crazy person. But I'm getting to where I used to live in, my husband's a mess. Like, he just stuffs all over the place. And now I'm just like, I walk in the room, I'm like, oh, I can't even look at this room because there's so much clutter in here. Like, my heart can't take the pressure of all the clutter. And I feel like I'm going the other way. And so now I'm just like, dude, listen, we're going to start cleaning. And he helps me. We're going to do this and this and this. And when it's done, nothing gets put out of place. We're going to keep clutter free. And I was never super crazy about all that organized, but in the last few years, and I feel like the older I get, the more I just want everything to be in a place. So when I go to look for it, that's where it's at. And if I need this, it's there, and I go there, and then it's not there, and then I spend an hour looking for something because somebody moved it. It's like, stop touching my stuff. So I don't know if I'm getting like possessive about my things, but I just like, if I go in the dresser and that's where the scissors are, I want them to, and they're not there. It's 30 minutes for me. It's like, stop moving my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we for sure need to keep a balance, right? So like wherever we go out of kind of the middle ground into the extremes, it might be good to just wonder why. But I'm with you. So I like when things are where they belong, because like I said, if we want to be productive in working, if we want to not spend hours and hours searching for stuff, it helps if the stuff is there where we put it. If we have a home, so it starts actually a few steps before that. We have a home for everything that we have, right? We're not just having willy-nilly stuff. We have things that have a home in our home, and that's where we go when we want it. And when we're working, like when we're in this flow state and we're working and everything works out well, and then we don't find anything, all of a sudden, that stops us in our tracks, right? And that's where we're trying to not get stopped, and the things are always where they need to be. Now, nobody is perfect. So I'm always thinking like if 80 to 90% of the time the stuff is where it needs to be, good enough, because we need to stay human.
Yeah, we do. We do. We do. And so I would imagine that would be really helpful for people in business too, because I think a lot of people get, whatever their job is, and they make this much money, and then they sort of get stuck there. They need things and information like you teach to help them like get to the next level, because that's a thing too, getting to the next level and dealing with traumas and getting to the next level. I mean, I feel like what you do is just so, I mean, even me, everybody needs someone to help them get through the clutter, the chaos.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like it's today's misconception in our society today that we need to be able to do it all ourselves. When you just go back a little bit, we were used do live in small communities or in big families, we always had some kind of like mentor, to call it that way. Maybe it was your grandmother, maybe it was your mother, maybe it was an aunt, maybe it was some family, a relative, or some community member that you could go to and ask something. And in our world today, it's almost like we feel like we have to do it all by ourselves.
Yeah.
I have a client who constantly says, Connie, I don't know why I always come to your calls or why I still need your calls. I should be able to do it myself. And I say, who says? Who says that we have to do it all ourselves? We don't.
Well, yeah, I think women, I don't know, can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, 57.
Okay, so were you raised in America or did you?
No, in Switzerland.
So when did you come here?
20 years ago.
Okay, so for people, I'm 66, so I feel like women like of my generation that were raised in America, we ended up being taught like, get a job, have kids, work at a factory, have a husband, and then you work all day and then you cook and you clean and you do laundry. It's like, but since when did women have to do everything? And that's why people are so overwhelmed, because it's like, oh, women are going to do everything. Yeah, we can. But why do we have to literally do everything? Like your husband should be helping, not like it's a woman's job. And, you know, like when I was a kid, you had aunts and uncles and grandparents, and like it was more of a community. And people are now more isolated, I think.
Yeah.
And then, especially women, I think women feel overwhelmed by the fact that they should be able to do it all.
Yeah. So from my perspective, where I grew up in Switzerland, so I do remember when I was just very young, like 17, 18, it was still like, oh, as a woman, you take a job away from a guy. So if you do go and work, feel privileged, but that doesn't mean you can neglect the duties you have at home. That's kind of like how I grew up. And this is where it comes from too, where we probably think, like you just said, we need to do it all because we need to prove that we can do it all. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. So yeah, ask for help, which a lot of people say it's the hardest thing to do. And I can agree. Sometimes I have a hard time too, to ask, because we're socialized to not have to ask, especially if you're a woman, because then you're told, oh, I knew you couldn't do it. Like,
right? It's like still today. And then you got all these young women, like, you know, in their 20s and 30s with all this like super gentle parenting and all these kids that misbehave. I'm like, listen, you come to my house, I'm going to whip your ass. So you're going to listen to me. I was raised old school with a switch and a bell and no gentle, you're going to mind me. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to soften up a little bit. I don't know. I feel like the world's gotten crazy and there's just too much happening. There is so much chaos, and I just don't feel like most people take the time to actually find their peace. Now, I do. I take time every day to find my peace. I have quiet time. I have a candle. I read the Bible, and I'm like,
beautiful.
I'm doing this, but I only learned to stand my ground about my peace only in like the last 5 or 6 years. I was almost 60 before I started saying, you know what, listen, I'm taking care of me first, and then everybody else is second. And before I was like a super people pleaser. And somewhere along the way, I was like, you know what, I can't do that. I'm sick a lot. I'm run down. I'm exhausted. I'm not enjoying things. So I just made the decision to like, I'm putting myself first. I'm putting my peace. My room is clean. Everything in this clean, clean, clean. And I have time to relax. And I just do it. And I'm like, I just don't care. People get mad. Oh, I can't believe you said no to that. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's not healthy for me personally. But when you get to the point, especially as a woman, and you start saying no to people that used to say yes to everyone, they're like, oh, what's wrong with you now? And it's like, I'm watching out for my peace. That's what's wrong. And what you're asking me is not part of my plan anymore. And people like get offended. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with Dwan? And it's like, no, Dwan's tired of being a doormat.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think too, it's like a lot of people say, oh, it's so crazy out there, but they themselves are crazy. And I really think we can only create more peace in the world. And that may sound very big, but we can only create more peace in the world if we have peace within us
Yep.
and within our families, right? But if we're running around like crazy pants, this is not creating peace. Also, you know that if you're running around like crazy pants trying to please everybody and trying to make sure everybody is fine, you are not fine in the end automatically. But the other thing is too is you have not a single moment to actually reflect. And does that even make sense what I'm doing, right? Or does it maybe have negative consequences?
You are preaching to the choir. I can agree more with everything that you're saying, but I do, it just in my personal experience and a lot of my friends, I find that it is hard, and I'm sure it is for men too, but just from a woman's perspective, it's hard sometimes to just draw that line of like, this is what I need, because other people are like, oh, she won't help. I can't just drop the kids off anytime, dare, and I can't, and it's like, no, that's it. That's how it is.
Yeah.
This is my line. This is my line in the sand, and that's how it is. But once you do it for a while, I wake up now, I'm just like, I'm peaceful. I don't wake up with anxiety anymore. I go to bed peaceful, and people are used to me now. But man, the first couple of years, oh my gosh, I got so much flack off people.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to what we were saying, like people don't like change. So all of a sudden, Dwan changed and didn't say yes to everything anymore, which had an effect on them because now all of a sudden they couldn't drop whatever they wanted off on your doorstep and Dwan would be taking care of it, right? So then they had to change. Not just you changed, they had to change. And they don't like that. And I think the other thing is often too is, and I struggle with that still to this day, you know how when as a woman, you maybe say too long, you say yes. And then when the no comes, you're so at wit's end that it maybe comes out aggressive instead of from a place of groundedness. And so when I discovered that for myself, because a lot of people say to me, well, Connie, you're so aggressive. And I'm like, I don't mean to be aggressive, but then I realize I come across aggressive because I wait too long. And so now when I'm actually more intentional, I come across assertive more than aggressive, right? Like grounded in me. Thanks for asking, but no, that doesn't work for me. Thanks for asking, but no, I'm not doing this. Thanks for asking, no. And if I can come from this more calm place instead of I'm so overwhelmed with you already asking again and I'm really getting frustrated, I think they accept it easier too.
I agree. I could not agree more. I could talk to you all day. I love the way you think. I love what you do. So people need to go to IamConnyGraf.com. Right? No, ConnyGraf.com.
It's just ConnyGraf.com, yes. And the handle on Instagram where I'm most is I am Conny Graf.
Okay, that's right.
Because Conny Graf was taken already. I don't know who dared to just take my handle, but they did.
That's right. Okay, so ConnyGraf.com and then I am Conny Graf on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Threads.
All of you, and I'm sure you work with men too, but girls, I mean, I'm telling you, I think women just need more help because we've just had so much stuff expected of us by society. And when you start really being like, I am going to take care of my peace, I am. And, I didn't really learn how to do that until I was in my 50s. And I see these young girls and they're doing everything and they're starting out and they're like all that. And I was like, no, I know, I was with you. So I think, I just feel like, I mean, I don't know. Once I realized what I needed to do, and I thought, man, I wish I would have done this in my 30s.
Yeah.
I wish I would have took more time instead of just being like, oh, whatever you need. And now it's like, okay, I got it now. But if you're young, 20s, 30s, 40s, anyone, you need to work on your peace today so that you'll have a better life. Agreed?
Yeah. Agreed. And, it's like when I was younger, I wasn't that way either. I think it also comes with life experience that we're starting to realize, okay, this doesn't work. We have to change, right?
And also, I think it takes, I mean, I don't know. I'm just, I'm from the Midwest. So just like I know in the Midwest, it's hard. It just, for girls and moms and, whatever, just to say no. Like it's not even that we don't want to do the thing, but then that thing on top of that thing on top of that thing, and then you get to bed 2 a.m. and then you're exhausted for 3 days. I feel like I feel like it's sort of bred into us, just we have to do everything. And for me, I didn't recognize it
Mm-hmm.
until I got into my 50s. Actually, I started podcasting. I started listening to people like you, and I started reading more books, not self-help about business, but like about myself. And then I was like, oh man, I'm such a people pleaser, and I do everything. I do this, I do that. I'm not going to do that anymore. So
Mm.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I didn't start looking for my own peace until I was older. And I tell my daughters now, I'm like, listen, you guys are in your 30s, get your peace now. Have your
Mm-hmm.
things, you know, have your work, have your life, have your peace. Like put those things and do that now because you
Mm-hmm.
will have a happier life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
That's
daughter, my
beautiful.
one daughter, Ayla, my daughter, I was raised her till I was 13 till I married Bill. That girl's like, listen, no. On this day, I'm going here. On this day, I'm doing that. If you ask her for something, she's like, nope, these are my things. I'm doing my things. And like every day she has something that,
Mm-hmm.
whatever time it is. And sometimes it's like skating or whatever she's doing. And she's like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm taking care of my peace. And then I'm like, part of me is like, girl. And the other part's like, you go, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
No,
taught you that. So
yeah.
go. But then it's like, you can't say no to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I've taught you the peace.
Yeah, no, but the best thing you can do is actually like support them, right? And find a little slot somewhere where they actually help you do what you want them to
Yeah.
do, right?
Yeah.
You
So,
never
and
know.
then my husband's the opposite. He'll just drop anything, drop off the grandkid, what he does anything he wants. And he's exhausted every night. I'm like, dude, I just don't say no to people. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I've talked to him and talked to him. Like, I can't talk to him about it anymore because then it's like, I'm the bickering wife. And it's like, you do you, but here's what I'm doing. So I'm not doing that with you. So when you commit to this for the next 2 days, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
Woo. I'm like, I'm not hard to get along with. I'm standing my ground. I'm controlling my peace. so, so I love what you do. I love everything about you. And all of you, you're gonna love listening to this. And just go find her, check her out, get on her site, find her. And if you are want some chaos to peace, this is your girl. Because especially for men too, I know it, but especially for the women. It takes us too long, I feel like, to finally start finding our peace. And don't wait like me into my 50s. Do it now in your 20s and 30s. You'll have a better life. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree totally. Thank you, Dwan. And so happy that you did find your peace and your way, right? Because that is important too. It's like, it doesn't matter when, it is that you found it. That's my belief.
Yeah, it is. I think I had it right before I was ready to have a nervous breakdown from all the stuff I was doing. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to. That's it. So, all right. Do you have a last parting word?
Yeah, so I just want to encourage people really to take a moment, take a breather, and find their peace in their day every day. Like we often can just do by just 3 deep breaths is already bringing some peace in our life, right? The minute we start bringing more peace in our life, that peace will have a ripple effect out. It will have an effect on your loved ones, on your family, on your children, on your little community, your neighborhood. And we all can use more peace in our life. So let's start with us and give it to ourselves and then to our family.
There you have it. Best advice of the day. All right. Thank you so much for being a guest. I love your heart. And everyone will see you back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. All right, everybody. Ciao. Thank you, Connie.
Thanks so much. Bye.
I am so glad that you stuck around. I almost forgot to tell you. In addition to having this amazing educational podcast, I'm now able to work with you one-on-one. Yes, one-on-one, you and me working together, and have a 3-deal guarantee. 3-deal guarantee that you'll close 3 deals. So you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. Take the quiz. Go to Dwanderful.com. Take the real estate investing quiz. See you on the other side.